lot of people are sort of using Vigoroth, or at least in my scrims, in my discussions with folk, they're using Vigoroth as sort of like a fail-safe, right? They're switching it in as a term we use a lot is a safe switch.
Yeah.
But I think any seasoned player is going to be quite ready for that, and perhaps even baiting it, right? Going in, we should expect that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty decent play, though, because it lets you gamble on your lead a little more. And if you get a bad lead, you can just swap to Vigoroth, kind of a thing. Because even though Vigoroth gets countered, it doesn't get hard countered.
Yeah.
So, you know, worst case, you maybe take a shield and or chunk quite a bit of damage before your Vigoroth goes down, and then you're able to kind of reset.
For sure. I mean, Vigoroth is just one of those that you could use as the lead, as a safe switch, as a sacrificial swap, as a finisher, you know, just a closer. It absolutely dominates with shield advantage. There's very few things that can take it out with shield advantage. And yeah, I mean, it's just one of those mons that is, it's very, very interesting to use, but it's complicated to counter, and nothing walls it. Nothing in this meta totally walls it. So I'm very interested to see what people will bring. And right now, we're seeing some comments. Joey VOV hype on stream. And let's see, what were the winners of the poll? Did we get some results, Quirts? I think it was favoring House Stark, but
yeah, last I saw it was favoring House Stark like 66 to 33%, give or take.
Yeah, House Stark.
Okay, so House Stark, I believe, will be streaming his match first.
The tournament link is live, so you can see everybody's teams now.
Ooh, very nice. Let's see. And if someone could post that tournament on Twitch chat, that would be super appreciated.
We have a command set up for...
Oh, we have a command set up for it, so it's already ready to go.
Awesome.
Alright, okay, so it looks like, looking through these teams here, so Valor Ash is running Vigoroth, Venomoth, Pidgeot, Noctowl, Venusaur, and Alolan Graveler. So he's got that double flying going on.
Yeah,
House
double
Stark,
flying and bug. Yeah.
Yeah, and House Stark has an interesting team here. Venomoth, Vigoroth, Magnezone, Sceptile, Kanto Raichu. And then it looks like Choostemaster did bail on the Fortress team. So he's running Vigoroth, Noctowl, Venusaur, Vespiquen, Alolan Graveler, and Lantern. And then Quartz is running Vigoroth, Noctowl, Kanto Raichu, Fortress, Vespiquen, and Alolan Golem.
A lot of double electrics here. Lantern and Golem or Graveler seems to be a very popular pick. I'm scrolling through here. Lantern is almost on every team. I mean, there's a few teams without it, of course. Maybe as you get more towards the bottom, it starts to be less frequent, but a lot of Lanterns. So it'll be interesting to see how this Pidgeot Noctowl on Mason's team will play. He's going to probably have to use Venusaur quite a fair amount.
Yeah, but it kind of goes back to, I think we all know how he loved using that double flying line in Rainbow Cup, and it seems like he's back at it again.
So what's our first match here? We're going to be streaming House Stark against Coleslaw, 713. And let's see Coleslaw's team.
Yeah, I'm trying to
if we can even find it. Alright, I found it. So Coleslaw is running Vigoroth, Noctowl, Kanto Raichu, Venusaur, Beedrill, which could be running a number of movesets, and then Alolan Graveler.
So again, we've got that double electric. And then, the Beedrill moveset is interesting because I think Poison Jab for the fast move is generally the better set, but you know, someone could go off meta and run a legacy bug bite Beedrill to catch some people off guard. I was screaming a friend the other day, and I was testing out legacy executor, and he used a Beedrill against me, and I was like, oh, that's fine, I'll leave it in because the confusion damage just chunks it down. I'm not too scared. But his had bug bite, and it just shredded my executor. So there is some niche consideration for that, but I think the poison jab is going to be a little more common. And then what would you expect to see in terms of the charge moves?
Well, I've been a semi-proponent of Aerial Ace. I think Sludge Bomb is just, and whether you choose Aerial Ace or X Scissor, it depends on your team comp. Honestly, Aerial Ace helps with the mirror, helps with a lot of bugs. It evens out the bug flyer matchups. It certainly helps against a wide variety of things, but then it hurts a lot against the Lantern matchup and the other electric matchups. I suspect most people are going to be running X Scissor. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. X Scissor is spammier as well. It has the lower energy cost, which allows you to get out faster and or shield bait a little easier. And like you said, it does make those electric matchups a little better, which is one of the appeals of Beedrill, is the fact that it's a Vigoroth counter that does decently well against the other against the electrics rather. I think the grasses are the main other Vigoroth counters that do well against electric. But obviously the grasses lose to all the bugs, whereas Beedrill has that, like, it can beat some bugs and then also beat some electrics.
So let's look at these teams. You guys are probably seeing them on stream right now. You know, they're both running Vigoroth. Were you able to catch what Stark brought in?
I think he had a Magnezone in there.
Oh, okay.
And I think maybe Venomoth. So 2 Vigoroth leads.
Yeah, so the Vigoroth lead, they're just going to be spamming each other for Body Slam. Experienced players are going to be waiting, hopefully, to get a piggyback off. That's exactly what Stark is doing. He went for double Body Slam. We're expecting a Body Slam one after another. He's probably counting his charge moves right there. He gets the 3 rings in there and shield. Expecting a Body Slam immediately after that, which is to be expected. And goes for the shield. So now they're equal shields, equal energy. That Vigoroth gets another Body Slam in, which will be followed by immediately a Body Slam from his opponent. So now 2 shields. Coleslaw is down all of his shields, and they're at equal energy, basically. So whoever gets the Body Slam first, it's going to come down to charge move priority. Or no, I guess the other Vigoroth team maybe was able to get another counter in, so that helped him as far as energy goes, or as raw damage goes.
Yeah, it looks like how Stark was able to get that piggyback and get an extra counter in.
Yeah, it felt like he might have not been able to, but now Sludge Bomb is just going to destroy this Sceptile in one go. So it was a smart switch from Stark's point of view, I suppose. He got rid of his Vigoroth. He's now waiting for that switch clock to run out a little bit. He comes in with Vigoroth itself. Now Venusaur has quite a bit of energy, and Magnezone isn't going to get that Flash Cannon in before that Frenzy Plant, so we'll be able to see how much damage. Oh, he went for Sludge Bomb. That's interesting.
Yeah, that was a misplay. I don't think he knows his typings, because Magnezone double resists the Sludge Bomb, but only single resists Frenzy Plant.
Yeah, this is obviously not a good situation for House Stark to be in. You know, he did spend all his shields on the Vigoroth lead, and he was hoping to just ride off of that switch advantage. But at this point, Raichu was able to take the win just from that singular brick break. And so that's GG. So that Vigoroth lead is something to, you know, it's hard to play around, because, you know, do you want to spend that Vigoroth, you know, against maybe a more useful match, or do you just want to start even and hopefully get out that, get that switch advantage. So it just really depends on how balanced your team is in the back against the rest of his 6.
Yeah, and this cup is kind of difficult, just knowing how to use. I think it's the cup that relies most on good shield usage.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw there that burning both shields on the lead ended up kind of hurting House Stark. Because the mons he had in the back weren't able to hold up too well without shields.
Do you think it might have been better if he had switched to Magnezone instead of Sceptile there in the end?
Let's see. The opponent had Venusaur and Raichu in the back.
It's tough, right? Because Sceptile would not be able to take that Venusaur out, most likely. Unless, if Magnezone is able to get one Flash Cannon, that's it. So Shield's down, Magnezone has a much favorable matchup. And so I understand why he switched immediately.
But if he had swapped in Magnezone, then the opponent would have brought in the Raichu, I'm assuming.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
But maybe that would have been okay because kind of sack the Magnezone to the Raichu, take some damage. And then if the Sceptile can farm some energy before taking out the Raichu, then it might be able to get to, does it take 2 Aerial Aces to take out a Venusaur? I'm not too sure. But I just wonder if the Sceptile being able to farm Raichu enough would have been able to get it enough Aerial Ace damage to take out the Venusaur, kind of a thing.
Some comments in the chat. Real Dojemon is saying that maybe he should have done Leaf Blade. At least he would have done some damage instead of going greedy for the Aerial Ace. Might have swung the match in his favor. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. I'd have to take a closer look at that. But at the same time, maybe he would have been able to squeeze in that extra damage that he needed in order to close the margin.
Yeah, so it looks like he's thinking about what to use here.
Yeah.
So, let's see. What are you expecting to see this next game?
Well,
as they make?
I think just looking at his team comp, Sceptile is kind of risky, but it seems like sort of... it'll help against like the Vigoroth matchup and then the Alolan Graveler and Raichu, but then it gets totally walled by Noctowl, Beedrill, and to some extent Venusaur. So he's going for Venomoth, Vigoroth, and Raichu, it seems, for his 3.
So the Venomoth is pretty solid here. It picks up those Venusaur and Beedrill wins as well as beating Vigoroth. And I think it doesn't have the worst Raichu matchup, but it just has to be careful of that Alolan Graveler for the most part.
All right, so Venomoth against Kanto Raichu. Kanto Raichu doesn't get to resist these Confusion attacks, and Break is double resisted by Venomoth, so unless it gets a Wild Charge in, Venomoth is in a really good spot. So he was able to shield that Wild Charge there, goes for the Poison Fang, and he's switching. Or at least it looked like his menu was coming up. So he might have tried to switch, and he might have just had that little menu bug come up. So he goes for another Poison Fang. I think Venomoth is in a pretty good spot here. He's burning out those Kanto Raichu's shields. He's probably going to forego the shield entirely, and he does. He goes for the Wild Charge. And even though he's able to take out that Venomoth, now we're in a shield advantage situation and able to farm quite a lot of energy on that Vigoroth. So he goes for the Body Slam. Venusaur isn't going to be able to shield. But
this is the thing we talked about, is Vigoroth having that shield advantage is so deadly.
Yeah, so this is the point where, some players might panic and switch, thinking that, oh, well, Venusaur is a counter to my Vigoroth, but no, you're able to get a little bit of energy, get that Body Slam, take out the Venusaur, and not sacrifice your Raichu in the back. So I think House Stark is in a pretty solid spot here. Break is going to do a ton of damage, but it's not going to finish off because it's a pretty low damage DPE move. And now we have a energy advantage Vigoroth goes off for the body slam and Raichu in the back. We'll see if he's going to be able to switch and be able to maybe tank that body slam before Kanto Raichu comes out. But if he gets that bulldoze, it's going to be really, really bad news for Stark. Oh, and he goes for the body slam, so I think this is pretty much GG for Stark. Do you think he would have been able to get that bulldoze off if he has it?
Maybe. I think that would have been close, but
Yeah.
he might have just been charged up and trying to fire it off as soon as he could.
Yeah. It's so
But yeah,
close, man. It's so
I think
close.
going
This
for
is the
that bulldoze
situation.
would have been closer, or I think he would have been more likely to get that bulldoze than get 2 body slams, though.
Yeah, yeah. This is, by the way, the situation where you want to have bulldoze. End of the match, Vigoroth against a electric type, specifically the Alolan Rocks or Raichu, is when you're really going to be wanting to have bulldoze. It's going to edge out a little bit more damage, and yeah. In the moment, as some people are saying on stream, it's a tough call. So definitely don't fault Coleslaw for his body slam.
All right, so coming to Game 3, what adjustments might we expect from both of the players?
So Coleslaw brought the same 3 in, and he just switched up the order. And Stark is the one that kind of really adjusted his team, as opposed to bringing Magnezone and Sceptile. He brought Raichu and Moth. So we'll see what Stark brings, and whether it was enough to shake up Coleslaw's pick. I have a feeling that Coleslaw is going to bring the same 3 again. I don't know. It's just a feeling. And Stark is going to try to choose a team that is able to handle those 3 and maybe have enough flexibility to handle other stuff that might come from his 6.
I don't know, though, because if the team that Coleslaw brought both times doesn't match up super well against the Venomoth.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if we might see an adjustment of him bringing either the Noctowl or the Alolan Graveler to help shore up that Venomoth matchup. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, if you noticed in that, he had to burn 2 shields to keep his Raichu alive.
Mm-hmm.
And then that shield disadvantage is what ended up doing him in.
So do you think he might bring him, as in Stark, might bring Sceptile in, anticipating an Alolan Graveler this time?
I don't know if he needs Sceptile. He could go for Magnezone for that Alolan Graveler matchup as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like Magnezone has the better matchup spread against this team as compared to the Sceptile.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like he's locking in the same team he did last time,
Just a different order.
but swapping up the lead.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'd like to see him maybe gamble on the lead and lead either Venomoth again or maybe Raichu.
Yeah.
And kind of keep that Vigoroth in the back as a safe swap.
Yeah, man, if you're able to have a decent lead advantage, and then you have Vigoroth in the back, it's very difficult to come back from that, I've found, because you could just further your advantage depending on what plays you get in the counter switches.
And looking at Twitch chat, someone was noting that Sceptile with shields might be okay, but you usually want your shields for Vigoroth, so that it's kind of tough to run both in the same trio.
Very good point.
And then someone else is mentioning that they like a Raichu lead, which is kind of what I was hoping to see.
Mm-hmm.
In anticipation of like a Noctowl lead. But I guess Raichu doesn't have like crazy good matchups against Coleslaw's team. Like, it's not a bad pick, but it's not like it has, besides the Noctowl matchup, it doesn't have a ton of great matchups.
Okay, so we're going on the Vigoroth lead, just like Game 1 against Noctowl. Very favorable, well, quite a favorable matchup for start. I expect a switch out at some point from Noctowl, maybe gets a little bit of energy before doing that, but it is risky because Vigoroth with a lot of a presence to be reckoned with. So he goes for the body slam. I'm expecting a switch during the charge. And it's probably going to be a switch to Venomoth, which is the best counter to Venusaur. And a Venomoth with energy advantage is a really, really big threat. So he does go in for Venomoth. I'm getting kind of a menu showing up here. Quartz, if you could minimize that so we can watch the match. He goes for the Noctowl against the Venomoth after taking out his Venusaur. Poison Fang does, a decent amount of damage, or not so much damage, and Noctowl is a hard counter to Venomoth. But with that being said, this is a very favorable situation for Stark to be in, because he just chips away with confusion, and he's just trying to take out as much as he can from that Noctowl. So he gets to choose. Do you want a hard counter with Raichu, or do you want to bring that Vigoroth back in? So either one's going to be able to do a lot against that Noctowl. As opposed to Alolan Raichu, Kanto Raichu doesn't really have much to fear from Noctowl, and it can still conserve some energy by using Brick Breaks for neutral damage against Noctowl. So now he's burned both of his shields.
The Psychic can hit it pretty hard, though, because Kanto Raichu is kind of frail.
Yeah, it can. But at the same time, it's not having to straight up worry about Nightshade, which does do a lot more damage against Alolan Raichu, I suppose. So then he's got Beedrill and Kanto Raichu. Shields are down at this point. Body Slam is just taking a massive amount of hurt on that Beedrill. I don't think he can make it out of this match alive, because that Body Slam is going to come out way too fast for Beedrill to be able to handle it. Shields are down, and that's GG. The match goes to Stark, 2-1.
Yes, so again, I think I think you see quite a contrast between Game 1 and Game 2 and 3, where in Game 1, how Stark burned both shields on the lead and ended up paying for it as a result. Games 2 and 3, he was more conservative with his shields early on, which ended up paying dividends because he was able to get himself into shield advantage situations and capitalize.
For sure. And Stark, from what I hear, is just one of those players that is able to really recover in later matches. As you saw, he was able to lose the first match, but really come around and go for 2 wins in a row. That easy to do when you consider all the factors. Psychologically, if you lose a first match, you're thinking, man, the odds are kind of stacked against me. But he played it really, really nicely, and he adjusted his play, as you say, almost completely. It was like a 180-degree turn.
And just a quick update, it looks like the round 1 is done and round 2 matches are up. Valor Ash, Choostemaster, and Quirts. Oh, and also Joey VOV. They all won their round 1 matches.
Very nice. Very nice.
So hopefully we'll get to see a couple of those names collide with each other a little later in the tournament.
Okay, so I believe we're going to be following Choostemaster now. How Stark gets a break. And while Quartz is getting all of that set up, we can look at Choost's team. He's running a Vigoroth, Noctowl, Venusaur, Vespiquen, Graveler, and
I'm excited to see that Vespiquen.
Me too. I invested in mine a long time ago.
For the draft, right?
Yeah, for a draft match that I had. And unfortunately, haven't really been able to use it that much since. But
how did you like it in that draft tournament, though?
Well, I lost epically in that tournament specifically. But it had some interesting matchups. And the thing that it really had going for it is people had no idea what to expect from it, because it was like pretty much brand new. Some people didn't even know what it was called when it came out. So, yeah.
Well, there's a little more knowledge about it nowadays. And it seems like it's rising in popularity within the last week or so within this jungle meta.
So against Squiddy Diddy Doo's team, Where does Vespiquen really thrive?
Well, it beats Vigoroth. It's a pretty good Vigoroth counter because I believe it can tank like 2 or 3 body slams, which most other Vigoroth counters can't. It's going to do quite well against Gloom, and it has a so-so Fortress matchup. It's going to struggle against the Electrics and Noctowl. So I'm not sure necessarily how much Vespiquen I expect to see here. But just looking at this team, it seems like Vigoroth is a very good pick here. Because Gloom is really the only counter this guy has for Vigoroth.
It certainly feels that way. Just looking at it,
it seems like Vigoroth is a real safe option here, and as long as Choost brings something to deal with the Gloom, I think he'll be in pretty good shape. And
within his team, Venusaur, Noctowl do just fine against Gloom. So those are, both options for him, and we'll be interested to see what he brings. I don't think he's bringing Vespiquen this round.
I
think
agree.
He can do just fine with Venusaur, or his own Vigoroth, or even shields down with Lantern.
Yeah, speaking of Lantern seems like a pretty good option here too.
Yeah, you just don't want to be caught against his Gloom.
Right.
Or take an Earthquake from that Fortress.
Definitely.
We got a Squiddy fan in the Twitch chat, Chief Buddington, saying Squiddy is good. Must have been playing against him. I don't recognize this player's name. I'm sure he is. These early tournaments are normally really competitive, from what I've seen, and the Philly seems pretty competitive. So I expect nothing less than top tier players coming from here.
I wouldn't be surprised to see something like a Vigoroth, Noctowl, Venusaur line from Choost, perhaps. Because Venusaur picks up that Gloom matchup, the Vigoroth matchup, and does pretty well against both the Electrics. So it only really fears the Noctowl and the Fortress. But his own Vigoroth, Noctowl will help with those Noctowl and Fortress matchups.
Alright. Seems like they're just getting ready to lock in. We will be going back and forth. Tristan, I think you're doing play-by-plays now?
Yep.
Awesome. Just kind of tag teaming it as we go. That way we all get a little bit of practice with this. This is like, in absence of being able to play, this is just as fun in my experience, being able to kind of, just commentate on the matches and see these players in action.
Yeah, especially when you get to see some of these top level players, it can be even more fun to watch what they're doing and just see what's going on.
Kaiser Niner saying Vigoroth, Noctowl, and Lantern is the way to go here. Interesting. And it looks like he's settling for Vespiquen, which is surprising to me, but we'll see how that works.
It looks like he's running a Venusaur lead with Vigoroth and a Alolan Graveler in the back.
Okay, so pretty similar to what we were saying, I think. Venusaur covers a lot on his team. Graveler's
I'm a little surprised about the Graveler, though. I feel like it doesn't have the best matchups here.
He is kind of relying on a Gloom lead, I think, in this case.
Like, the Graveler is... I only see the Graveler as a positive matchup against the Noctowl, pretty much.
Yeah.
So that one surprises me a little. And he has a bad lead here, Venusaur against Noctowl, so he's going to be forced to switch, probably into the Vigoroth. Oh, he's going for the Golem, which... and out comes the Gloom. Maybe that was a sack swap play.
I think so.
That may have been why he brought the Graveler. Is he sees if he can lure out the Gloom and take it out, that he should be able to sweep the rest of the team with Vigoroth from there.
Yeah. Yeah, because
So
then Noctowl is going to come back for this this Venusaur once this is over.
Yeah, so I didn't actually think of that play, but I think that's why he's ran the Venusaur. Or, I mean, ran the Alolan Graveler. It was just a sack swap and get rid of this Gloom. And he was able to farm a little energy here so that he can get off a Sludge Bomb. And then I would expect a quick switch to Vigoroth here.
You think so? Maybe just conserve that shield. Oh wow, he's going for a double Sludge Bomb here, huh?
Oh, that was a misplay there. He would have been better off swapping right away to the Vigoroth and saving that energy so that he had a fully loaded Sludge Bomb in the back.
Yeah.
But this is an interesting matchup because while Vigoroth does beat Fortress, it's pretty close. And so if you don't swap right away, you can actually lose. So it'll be interesting to see if he's able to... Okay, so he gets off the Body Slam here. But his Venusaur is a little bit of a sitting duck in the back now because it has no energy. Whereas if he had banked that charge move, he would have had a Sludge Bomb ready to go and could have taken out that Noctowl.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest turning point in the match, is that switch right before that Sludge Bomb hit. That was a huge... that was definitely a huge turning point for the match, because if he was able to bank that Sludge Bomb, he was at least he would have at least had. So he went Gloom, Noctowl, and Fortress. Fortress having decent matchup against Vespiquen, I suppose Venusaur, and
Graveler.
Oh, Graveler
Fortress
too?
does, yeah. Fortress, I think it's pretty even, but I think Fortress generally comes out ahead against Graveler, if I remember
Interesting.
correctly.
Neutral damage heavy slam. And,
yeah, neutral damage heavy slam, and then has that earthquake nuke for a late game.
That's true. Hey, Clouds RE fan, please don't post codes in the chat. We have our Discord there for it. You can go in the Friends and Codes channel and post yours there. This is not AJ, the place to be posting your codes.
Were you able to catch what team Choostemaster locked in? Because I
was not.
That.
No.
So I wonder if he'll go with the Alolan Graveler again as that sack swap play to take out the Gloom, or if he's going to go with a kind of more like straight shooting team.
It is risky though, because if instead of Gloom, Lantern or Vigoroth comes out, then he still keeps the Gloom for later. So
yeah, that's a good point. And that's one thing I don't like about sack swaps. Okay, so we have Vigoroth versus Gloom in the lead. So kind of a rough start for Choostemaster here. 2 bad leads out of 2. But he is able to get to that Body Slam first because Gloom charges so slowly with Razor Leaf. But this Razor Leaf damage is really starting to rack up. Vigoroth is almost dead, and Gloom hasn't even used a charge move yet. But not a bad start for Choostemaster, actually, because he's able to take out the Gloom and not use any shield. And Vespiquen's so tanky here that he can afford to not shield whatever comes its way.
Oh, jeez.
That Moonblast hit harder than I would have expected, though.
Yeah.
But he still had a shield advantage, so that's not too bad. Goes for the X Scissor Spam, which is resisted, and then a quick swap to Alolan Graveler. And in comes Vigoroth. which is not a great spot for the Lingrowler to be in, just because that counter damage from Vigoroth is super effective. But on the plus side, it is hitting back for neutral damage with a Rock Throw, as well as his charge moves, and he does have that energy advantage. Oh man, he barely got beat to that charge move. Which is too bad, because being able to save a shield there could have been a pretty big deal.
And he just barely isn't able to take out that Vigoroth, which is also
Yeah, so
a
I
problem.
think this is a GG now, because his Vespiquen's on low health and has to contend with this Fortress, which it looks like has a heavy slam ready to go.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's both rounds for Choostemaster. But
Yeah, I think bad leads kind of did him in. I think that second game, it seemed kind of hard for him to come back, just based on the team compositions and stuff. But I think game one, firing that sludge bomb against the Fortress was kind of the turning point, and maybe he could have won otherwise. But yeah, again, it seems like that Gloom kind of gave him some trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was trying to go for that sack swap. I guess he didn't. The opponent ended up not bringing Lantern at all, so he could have used that play again, I suppose. But
well, it wouldn't have worked game. It wouldn't have worked game two though, because the guy led Gloom.
Right.
So you can't really run a sack swap when they lead the mon you're trying to take out.
For sure, but I guess just generally speaking, he opted not to have Lantern or I guess Vigor. Well, he did have Vigoroth in the back, so we'll see. We were kind of rooting for Choose here, but we'll see how it plays out. Some support for Choose in the chat is saying smelling a comeback, JR Honda, and maybe Kaiser Niners saying maybe Gloom's a sleeper pick. I don't know if sleeper pick is the right word. I think it's just a decent mon that does well against Vigoroth, and it does the job it needs to. If it's locked into the right position, it does really well. The thing is, it doesn't have a lot of flexibility or any shield pressure for that matter. So it's something to watch out for there.
I mean, obviously it performed well, but I think any Razor Leafer would have performed pretty well on that spot.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think, obviously it did well for him, but personally, I would be more inclined to run Victory Bell if I wanted a Razor Leafer, just because it has that faster firing Leaf Blade, as well as either Sludge Bomb to pack more of a punch or Acid Spray for that debuff.
We do have some match results come in. House Stark is still doing his match against Eros Trinidad. Victorious against AJ Cottam. Let's look at AJ Cottam's lineup. He's running a Lowling Golem, Noctowl, Heracross, Vigoroth, Venusaur, Lantern. Off the bat, I suppose Heracross come down pretty hard against his double fly. That being said, he doesn't have answers for it, so it's interesting to see what schemes he's got playing around with that double flying, what kind of a presence it's causing on his opponent. Looks like we get to see a matchup here. Manders versus... Oh, Quartz. It looks like Quartz is going to be playing here. What I don't know is whether Quartz already played a match or not against him. But let's look at Mander's team real quick. He's running Vigoroth, Heracross, Noctowl, Venomoth, Victory Bell, and Lantern. While Quartz is running Vigoroth, Noctowl, Raichu, Fortress, Vespiquen, Golem. So off the bat here, another Fortress team. A Fortress does really nicely against his Venomoth Victory Bell combination there, and doesn't do badly against Lantern, so I do expect it to come out. It's not an awful matchup against Vigoroth either. And we are in the team selection here, just waiting for the matches to come out, and here we got a Vespiquen lead against a Lantern. Not a great matchup for Vespiquen here. Our Quartz might have to switch out. We'll see whether he ends up doing. X-Scissor is still going to do a decent amount of damage, spamming against that Lantern. He just has to worry about shielding those Thunderbolts. So we'll see if he gets a piggyback. It's not going to make a huge difference against a Water Gun, I suppose, here, because they're just such fast moves. So he goes for the X-Scissor. We're just slogging at each other with a high, bulky Mon. Both of these are very, very bulky alternatives. He goes for the double X-Scissor. Really nice job counting that. And we'll see whether Lantern shields. He doesn't. They're both on equal shields at this point, one-on-one. And Vespiquen is able to get that third X-Scissor out before Lantern is able to get Thunderbolt. Now that is the drawback towards Lantern, is that it takes a lot longer to get those Thunderbolts in. So at this point, he can either decide to shield, which he does, and win the match, or take out that Lantern with the remaining X-Scissors. So at a shield disadvantage, but with switch priority. So at this point, he just basically has to decide, is he going to be greedy and try to get the power gem? And sure enough, he does. He's going to get a decent amount of damage off Noctowl. Probably as a Noctowl user, he wouldn't, and he doesn't. So it takes a huge amount of damage off of that Noctowl. And I think Quartz is in a pretty decent spot here. He's got Noctowl over Vigoroth, both decent matchups against that Noctowl. But if he's got a Vigoroth in the back, which we should suspect, he does really have to take out that last shield in order to come out on top here. So the Sky Attack is expected to come out, and it's Psychic. So Psychic comes out. I think that was a misplay here. Tristan, what do you think?
Maybe. I guess it's a question of if he could get to that second Sky Attack or not. But I think he was going for that slightly better DPE play. But it seems like it may have come back to hurt him here.
Yeah. I think double Psychic would have probably been better. Oh, he's got a Heracross coming out. Oh, man. This is bad, because now Vigoroth, he might be able to get that Body Slam out, but Heracross is able to basically farm Vigoroth in this matchup, right? And maybe take out that Noctowl.
I think it's just a race to the charge move here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Heracross had to burn his Mega, because otherwise...
Okay, so this is GG.
Wait, if he had two Sky Attacks in the bank, why didn't he just fire them both off?
Yeah, that's my question. If he had two Sky Attacks, why not fire them both? But, I don't know. I didn't see that second Sky Attack, so...
Yeah, maybe he didn't realize he had two Sky Attacks ready or something.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, if he had just double Sky Attacked, that would have been GG without any risk. Versus with the swap, you risk Heracross farming and then getting a charge move to KO the Noctowl. And with the health the Noctowl was at, he didn't even need a close combat. He could have done it with a Mega Horn.
Oh, so that was the second or third match, so Quartz got the win that round. Alright, so let's see how our players are doing. I believe this bracket is still alive for this round. Still some matches that need to be played out. This tournament will run for 6 rounds, by the way. We're at round 2. House Stark is still playing against Eros Trinidad, so maybe they had some restarts or something.
It's worth noting, I don't know if you mentioned that Joey VOV also lost.
Oh, wow.
But, I mean, in a 6-round tournament, especially with the level of quality here, I wouldn't be surprised if the winner went 5-1, and if we had multiple joint winners at 5-1. So, definitely don't count Joey VOV or Choostemaster out just yet.
Quartz is bragging on his winning streak. This is not nice, Quartz. You shouldn't be bragging on stream. Nobody appreciates a bragger. So I really hope you miss this throw. And you do. So he goes for the second great ball here. He's choosing not to go for the pineapple. He gets a great throw in. We'll see if he catches it.
That was a lucky play.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't even appraise.
He doesn't
That's
even
ballsy.
appraise. Transfer.
Just auto transfer.
It's too bad these stops are just barely out of the seating area's range. Alright, so with the Twitch chat, we just got 101 viewers. Thank you so much, you guys. 28 viewers on YouTube, 101 on stream. That is awesome. Spam those emojis for those of you who are our tier 1 subscribers. There's emotes. Let's get some
Oh, we got some Raichu number 1
we got some
going
Raichu.
on. Oh man, the Raichus are coming in hard.
As soon as I say camera up, a whole bunch of Raichu come instead.
Yeah, where's our camera ups at, guys?
Yeah. It's the effect of me talking and requesting something that gets a bunch of Raichus instead.
Alright, now we got some camera ups rolling in.
Nice. Nice. Fight the power.
Man, I love these emotes though.
Mr. 49er Nation 1 has some middle finger barbosh over there.
Yeah, Jimma Banks is asking if we can get a Valor Ash interview.
Can we get a Valor Ash interview? He's being a bit secretive with his tactics right now, so we'll hold off on interviews until later.
Yeah, I think
really
we'll probably
won't be able to give-
get an interview after the tournament's over.
Yeah.
And we can kind of ask him about what these tactics are.
Mm-hmm. Spyro RL, not when he looks like that. I think especially if he looks like that is when we need to be.
Oh, here he comes. Here he is.
Did you know Spyro?
For those of you guys who don't know, Spyro is Scotty. He's British, so he's just a little salty that America won the War of Independence.
Yeah. The original. Is he a women's World Cup watcher? Yes, he is. Spar. He is absolutely a women's World Cup watcher.
And still no result from the House Stark match yet.
Yeah, maybe they're having some kind of dispute or something. Maybe they're duking it out with the old-fashioned fists and just settling the results like that. I'd love to commentate that. That'd be fun.
What are we seeing? They even shout Kaskarupi catches. Top tier commentary right there.
Why not, right? Why not? All right, what are we seeing here on stream? We're seeing the tournament. Everybody's kind of waiting for this matchup to be resolved. Quartz, I think I hear you on stream. What's going on there?
That was a Valor Ash.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Mason, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. We just got a lot of background noise. I was just going to say that they had some technical difficulties, but they're battling it out right now.
Awesome. Great. So they had some kind of lag dispute or something like that?
I wasn't around for the lag dispute, but I don't know if there was a dispute at all. But
okay.
I deal with the disputes and Microstrike.
Was there a dispute?
Oh no, I think they agreed on the company stuff. Yeah, no, I didn't go. But if there is one,
Yeah, there wasn't a dispute. They just had some lag.
Okay.
Trying to get the match going.
Cool. All right. A lot of comments on Twitch about your garment today. What made you choose to go on for 4th of July flag the days after 4th of July? I think Mason abandoned us.
No, sorry, I was watching the battle. What's up?
Oh, okay, great. So we're a lot of people are asking about your choice of clothing today with all the America. Is it just you didn't have enough for 4th of July? Is that what's going on? Jimma Bank says he doesn't do interviews. He's a badass.
That's what he...
Yes. Breaking up a little bit there. I heard that it's because it's the Freedom Rings Cup, so he followed the theme, as is his duty. We got another... Oh, okay. He just trailed off. He's just thinking about jungle matchups now.
He's probably just thinking about Camerupt.
Yeah.
And it looks like House Stark lost.
Oh, wow.
Well, Essos Trinidad reported a win. But House Stark hasn't reported a loss yet. Oh, yeah. House Stark lost.
Wow. So let's see. We're getting a lot of background noise from one of your mics, either Quartz or Mason. Looks like Valor Ash is paired up with French Tossed MAF 89. Quartz is paired up with Squiddy Diddy Doo. House Stark is with Viper Strike, and Choostemaster against Dirtface X. I don't know who we're going to be broadcasting now. Quartz, if you could pop in the mic and just tell us who we're going to be watching for the plays. In the meantime, we'll ask the Twitch, what do you guys think of that team that just beat House Stark? Let's look it up real quick. Not AJ caught him. It was Eros Trinidad. Eros Trinidad brought in Venusaur, Lantern, Vigoroth, Fortress, Venomoth, Noctowl. Definitely giving his Sceptile a ton of problems. I wouldn't expect Sceptile very much against this team. That being said, well, I guess Venomoth isn't that bad for Sceptile, right?
Yeah, because Sceptile is only taking neutral from the confusions.
Yeah, it's still glassy, but
yeah, it's
I guess
glassy.
it can hit for Aerial Ace.
But that's the thing is, it has to get to those Aerial Aces, and it's taking super effective damage from those spammy poison things.
Sure.
And with how glassy it is, I don't think you can afford to let more than one poison fang go through.
Sure. Probably even one is a death sentence. I mean, even though confusion is neutral damage, Sceptile is like really, really glassy.
Yeah, you're right. So yeah, I'd like to talk to House Stark afterwards and get his reasoning for running Sceptile and see if he's happy with the decision or not.
Well, if he wins the tournament, he'll be happy.
Yeah, but we'll have to see because he is in that one loss deficit already.
Yeah.
Mason's here, and Mason doesn't lose all that much.
Yeah.
So at this point, he's banking on someone beating Mason.
And Choost also lost one match, so this is a kind of like an upset for a lot of our top tier players here.
Yep, but we still have Mason and Quartz both undefeated so far.
Yeah. Hopefully that plays out towards the end, because I believe we'll be able to see that those plays at the end, even if Mason's being secretive. I don't think there's any reason for those secrets not to be shown in the final round at that point. So
yeah, definitely.
Gemma Banks, how do you best the American bass ass? I don't know
I think
about
that's meant
bass.
to be how you.
Someone said taxes. So, who are we streaming here now?
I don't know. We're about to find out though when the player names come up. So we are. Looks like we might be streaming House Stark.
Yeah, Viper Strike. Yeah, so House Stark versus Viper Strike.
Okay, so let's look at that real. We still got the Venomoth, Vigoroth. Oh, we have it up on stream. Awesome. Vigoroth, Magnezone, Sceptile, Raichu, and Noctowl. And then that is up against Vigoroth, Heracross, Noctowl, Lantern, Alolan Golem, and Fortress. Twitch chat, if you guys know or feel very comfortable predicting what the opponent is going to lead here, shout it out right now, and we'll see who is right, who calls it right. What do you think at this point? I wasn't able to even see what team he switched in too quick.
He's using Vigoroth, Sceptile, and Noctowl, I believe.
Okay. All right, so we got a Vigoroth against a Lantern. Favorable matchup for the Vigoroth. He's just going for the probably a double body spam at this point. Against that water gun damage, it's not like the best matchup for Vigoroth, but at the same time, it's very predictable in that you just know that Thunderbolts are going to come out, and water gun does for neutral damage. I guess the switch menu came up. It's no big deal. We go for the body slam again. And at this point, we're expecting the Lantern either switch out or just take the loss at the shield advantage at least, and he does. But Vigoroth at this point has a body slam fully ready to go against Heracross. So, you know, at this point, you can either switch out really quickly, go for Noctowl, which he does. He's going to take a lot of damage out of that Heracross. And not a great matchup for Noctowl here. I don't know if that switch was the right play here. Would you have gone for the switch in that situation?
Maybe, because I think he was guessing the opponent wasn't going to bring two electrics, which makes the Noctowl a bit safer. Because if there wasn't another electric in the back, that means the best he can do is bring in a Vigoroth or a Noctowl mirror. So I think he was trying to use that head knowledge, guessing there was no second electric in the back, but gets punished because he predicted incorrectly.
Yeah. So Golem had a ton of energy coming into this. This would have worked out much more nicely if if Vigoroth had energy, but even with Sceptile in the back, oh, he goes for the Leaf Blade here.
I think he's trying to bait a shield.
Oh, I didn't realize he had another shield left. Okay, so great play on his part, but Megahorn is going to come out and take out that Sceptile. So there's not really much that Stark can do in this case. Megahorn just does so much damage, even when neutral.
Well, it's super effective there.
Right. Yeah, but even in neutral, I'm saying, generally speaking. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't been too impressed with Sceptile so far.
No, it hasn't been performing as well as maybe he was hoping for. But how Stark is able to, come out of hairier situations in this, so.
Yeah. So I'm just not sure if it's just that Sceptile is, not that great of a mon here, or maybe he just isn't as practiced with it as he would like to be. Because, some of those harder to use mons, if you get a lot of reps in with them, then you can start doing much better. And some of those kind of glassier, spammier mons are like that. Like, for example, Haunter is hard to use at first, but once you get a lot of practice with it, you can pull off some high-level plays and really go through a team. So maybe Sceptile's similar, and he just doesn't have quite enough reps with it.
Yeah. The Beeski was able to accurately predict, the only person who predicted the lead previous match. So good call on Lantern. Nobody else was able to anticipate that Lantern coming in the lead. Well, I guess Stark was, in the sense that he got that lead.
And someone else in chat was saying he needs to lead Sceptile or not use it at all. That's his 2 cents.
Mm-hmm. Well, it would have definitely helped against that Lantern lead, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the Vigoroth Lantern lead is a good matchup, but if he had Sceptile, that would have been more preferable and probably forced a switch.
Yeah. Yeah, and that play at the end, even though he was going for the bait with Leaf Blade, he just didn't have enough time to get Aerial Ace anyway, so I don't know. He was in a bad situation, so there was nothing really he could do.
I mean, I think he had to go for the bait because, that shield is basically guaranteed to come up. So that was really his only option.
Oh, Jimma Banks just subscribed to Tier 1. Thank you, Jimma. Appreciate it. Now you can use the emotes. Might as well break them out. Give you some Camerupt, Kanto Raichu, or Head Knowledge. We'll see what he ends up using. All right, so we're going for Venomoth, Vigoroth, Noctowl. Let's see if he ends up locking into this.
That's risky though, because his opponent just used double electric the last game, and that's kind of soft to that double electric lineup.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess he's banking on the opponent not running double electric.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is risky. I don't know if I'd expect another Lantern lead. So let's see if anybody's able to accurately predict what is Viper Strike going to lead this match against House Star.
And there we go, though. He swapped out the Noctowl for Raichu, which is actually something I was about to mention. I'd like to see him use Raichu here because besides Vigoroth, the Raichu doesn't match up too terribly against this team.
Okay, so we got a Venomoth lead against Fortress. Nobody was guessing Fortress here as the lead. Very solid matchup for Viper Strike. Expect immediate switch out. He goes for Vigoroth. Favorable matchup for Vigoroth. They're expecting a switch out from Fortress, but Vigoroth does have an energy advantage here. Even though Heracross is going to beat it, it's going to be able to take quite a beating from those body slams if it doesn't shield. It does go for the shield at this point. Just farm that energy, right? Just take that one body slam, burn the one shield, and you're in a pretty good spot to just spam, or not spam, but use whatever charge move you have left. So he goes for the double shield. I don't know if that was the right play here, burning both shields against that Vigoroth. Even though, Mega Horn might do a decent amount of damage, Venomoth can take it pretty well. So he does go for the shield anyway, since he's got that advantage and just able to farm that Heracross. I don't know that I agree very much with that double shield play.
I think that was kind of poor play because it just lets your Heracross get farmed by the Venomoth.
Yeah. And here, Alolan Golem has an excellent matchup against Venomoth, but as you can see, Silverwind still does a pretty decent amount of damage, and Raichu is able to get that break off. Oh, just barely. So we'll see if he is able to switch during that charge move. And he doesn't, so he goes for the break. He's going to be able to take out that Alolan Golem, if not just barely. And now Venomoth is going to be able to run. Oh, not unchecked because he still's got that Fortress. So Fortress is going for the heavy slam. Oh, what a bummer. Yeah, this is GG for in favor of Viper Strike. There's nothing really that Venomoth can do against a Fortress in this situation. If he was able to get that wild charge, it would have been much closer.
I think if he had even gotten off a break, he would have had a chance. Look how close this is.
Yeah, he got greedy. He definitely got greedy. So that's 2 matches in a row, and that is game for Viper Strike. Wow. I think that's really been a problem for House Stark in the previous round as well. The one that we saw, not this most recent one that we didn't see. He did get greedy with those trying to go for the aerial ace as opposed to the leaf blade. So, what do you think? What was the deciding moment in that match?
Yeah, I think I think just getting beat to that charge move is what did it. If he had been able to get off the wild charge, obviously that would have been a pretty straightforward win.
Yeah.
But even if he had just gotten off a brick break, you saw how low the health on the fortress got. That I think that brick break damage would have tipped the scales.
For sure. Yeah, Fortress has kind of been the. I think Fortress has been the surprise for me this time around because Fortress isn't doing so well within the Sims, and when you look at those fresh matchups, but he doesn't lose big against almost anything. So that's what it's got going for it.
Yeah.
It looks like we have some results in though.
Yeah, and I just wonder if I just feel like the subtile pick is kind of giving him some problems. I think if he had gone for Venusaur, maybe he would might be doing a little better. So it looks like Mason won, Valor-Ash, Choostemaster won this round, Joey VOV won this round, and we're still waiting on a result from Quartz.
Okay. Well, if Quartz wins this round, it's a very good chance that he's going to be facing Valor-Ash. Because at this point, the undefeated players are narrowing lower and lower. So, who do we have?
Ash is
Mace,
joined.
Economical. Oh, Mason's on?
Yeah, he's joined.
Welcome. How's it going down there?
It's going well, dude. It's going really well so far.
Yeah.
The worst I can do is bronze, so I'll be okay.
The worst you can do is what?
Bronze. Like if I lose out, I think I get a bronze medal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's see what you were running up against. French Toast MA. He had Venusaur, Vespiquen, Lantern and Golem for double electric, Vigoroth and Noctowl is the normal flying and normal combo.
I think it was the exact same team that I'd faced round 2.
Was it really?
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Who were you up against round 2? AJ caught him.
Yeah.
Oh no, that was pretty different in the sense that he had Heracross instead of Vespiquen.
Maybe it was first round. I swear I saw Vespiquen at least first round.
I need an HDMI to
Yeah,
Giroy Silvet Coco?
Giroy. No, he had a Alolan Raichu and Vespiquen.
Oh, Quartz lost.
Oh, jeez.
All right, Mason, you're the only Ghost Stadium guy who hasn't lost yet.
Well, actually, Squiddy Diddy Do is on Ghost Stadium. He's in one of the remote lobbies. Yeah. One of our Twitch viewers was mentioning it. I forget who it was. If he's still listening, he'll come and chime in. But he said he's a pretty tough player. Oh, Chief Buddington. Yes.
Yeah, because Squiddy Diddy Do beat Choostemaster, and then he beat Quartz.
Wow.
So he's just taking names here.
All right.
So I think, are we gonna do a Choostemaster this next round once that's up?
I think so. Good chance of Choost at this point. We've kind of been alternating between Stark and Choost. There's a request to stream Echoes battle. JR Honda, the lesson here is Ghost Stadium is where all elite PvP happens. I have to agree. At this point, I think all top tier players are eventually going to end up in Ghost Stadium in one form or another.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking through my Palette Ranger lobby.
Mhm.
In my remote lobby, 18 people, we had 4 regional winners out
Wow.
of the 18 people in our lobby, including 000, who made it to the final 4.
Yeah.
And that's just in one lobby of 18. And then we have like the whole rest of the server.
Yeah,
So
it
there's
definitely does
definitely
get
a lot
stacked.
of top tier players
Mhm.
on Go Stadium.
Quartz, if you can hear us, there is some demand to stream one of the undefeated matchups. I know Mason has his secrets still being protected here for round 4, but there is a demand.
I just asked Echo, and he said not until the finals.
Okay.
What were you guys?
Not until the finals. So unfortunately, we cannot stream Economical until the final rounds. We do have a few matches left for round 4 to continue. This is exciting, though. I mean, a lot of upsets. This is what happens when you go into top tier competition. Players do get the best of each other. Looks like one match still needs to be settled.
Yeah, and it looks like we're gonna have 6 undefeated players heading into round 4.
So 3 for round, or potentially 3 for round 3.
Yeah, it'll be
players.
3. Yeah, it'll be 3 undefeated players going into round 5.
Yeah.
And then depending on how the person who gets paired down does, there will either be 1 or 2 undefeated players.
Wow.
In rounds.
Personally, I always like having the 2 undefeateds in the end because that just adds to the excitement to a tournament. But you know how these things go, you just never know.
Yeah, but what makes it interesting though, if one of the 3 undefeateds loses in that 5th round, then you get to see the top player with 1 loss take on the person who's undefeated. So that could set the stage for, say, like a Choostemaster versus Valor Ash final, or Quirts or Jovi V or any of these other players here.
Right. We are great. We're just waiting for round 4 at this point. Yeah, we are.
Yeah, there's one.
We did not do a poll.
But I think we're gonna do Choostemaster's match, because. Yeah, because we did house start the last game.
Okay, so let's see. At this point, there are a few trainers here that are not like highly ranked. I'm kind of looking at their teams. Sometimes you get a mix in those, and like these players that just entered late into the season, but they're still like top quality players. But there are some really wacky choices down there in the bottom, like Zapdos and Stantler and Licky, yeah,
Wigglytuff,
Dunsparce, Delcatty, and Licky all in one team. So that's a head scratcher right there.
And also, that team has no Vigoroth.
No Vigoroth. No, why bother?
And then we've got a team with Zapdos, Tangela, Stantler, Wigglytuff, Venusaur, and Giraffe.
Yeah.
This sounds like something Beedrill would run on stream.
Man,
like
this is like a high risk, high reward. Because if you win, like a tournament with something like that, then you farm Reddit karma for a little while. You make a video about it.
You farm Reddit karma for life.
Yeah. So I guess if you just make a new self account and you just do that, eventually you will strike gold, and you could just make a massive following over it. So it's kind of like those videos of like people skateboarding and like you only see the time where they really get they get the perfect stunt, but then they actually, got a whole, like 100 repetitions of just bruises, and they lost teeth and all that kind of stuff. It's almost like that.
I think this is exactly like, because if you fail miserably, you end up with bruises and such.
Yeah. I don't see any of the top tier teams without a Vigoroth, though.
Spark Spencer said, "Hi everyone, I beat my local cup of new players who've never done PvP before with Snorlax, Chansey, Blissey, and Munchlax. Find out here."
Well, you would actually say it was, if you want to translate that to YouTube, you would say Snorlax, question mark, exclamation point, the new meta, and then you put a picture of Snorlax jumping, and then like maybe like its tongue sticking out to suggest it's using like something like that.
Or you do like Snorlax, Chansey, Blissey, Munchlax, OP.
Yeah, OP is a good one. OP and gyms, OP and PvP. Yeah, you get the right idea. Well, it's a work in progress, but we'll narrow down the perfect title there.